We all have within us a little fragile one, very young, insecure, and that little one in all of us feels unworthy and unloved and lonely and longs for unconditional love that's reliable and dependable and will bring comfort to us when we're feeling those kind of feelings. It's very normal in our human experience. And when that part of us gets triggered and we're feeling like that, I have over the years invited people into a practice that came to me one night that I call loving the little one practice, where we let ourselves honor that little one inside of us. And I always invite people to let an image of their little one come into their awareness. And what are they wearing? And what's their hair like? And how old are they? And what are they feeling? And I invite people to really just honor that little one that's feeling lonely or sad or insecure or unlovable or unwantable. And we then let the big love that we are be brought to our little one and bring comfort to our little one. And it has been very beneficial for so many people for so many years. And that practice came to me one night many years ago in a very unexpected and surprising way. I had been doing the loving blessing practice for many years prior to this night. And in the loving blessing practice, we let someone come into our awareness and we share the love we are to that person. As many of you know, the loving blessing practice. And we honor them and we let the love we are be shared to them. And then there are many other phases of that practice called the loving blessing practice. Well, on this particular evening that I'm referring to, I had gotten home late from a full day at the studio and had a late dinner and had sat down and chosen a movie to watch on the TV and was just relaxing. And after a little bit of time watching the movie, behind me and to my right in the kitchen, I could feel the potato chips in my cabinet calling my name. We're crunchy. We're salty. Come eat us. The craving, which had happened so often in my journey prior to that evening, of course. It's something that happens for all of us. It's our wanter, And so, as I'm feeling this craving for the potato chips, I was aware in that moment that so many times in my journey, the wanter would win and I would get up and go get that bag of chips. And of course, it wouldn't be a single serving bag of chips. It would be one of those, family size bags of chips, the way too big for any human bag of chips. And it would end up on my lap and I would be, just one after the other as I watched the movie. These chips are going in and all these calories and things that your body does not need at, 11:30 at night. That's probably what time it was. And so on this night, I wondered if the living practice would be useful for cravings. It had never even come to me to consider that. But on that evening, it did. I wonder if the living practice would be beneficial regarding this craving. So as soon as I wondered it, I was then going to attempt to use the living practice regarding this food craving. And I could feel my wanter have no interest. No living practice. Just get up out of this chair, go get that bag of chips, and let's have some comfort. Let's have some salt and some crunch. We want that. I could feel my wanter. He really had no interest in this potential spiritual practice mumbo jumbo. Just get up and get those chips. But somehow, through all the years of practice, there was enough curiosity that I did stay in my chair. The wanter didn't win that night. And I then was going to notice, where do you feel this in your body? That's the beginning, as you know, of the living practice. So as I turned my attention to see where I was feeling this craving, I assumed it was going to be in my stomach. And to my surprise, the energy was not in my stomach. It was in my heart. It was so surprising. And as I went right in there into that feeling in my heart, I became aware that what it really was that was going on was loneliness. I just felt so lonely. Wasn't expecting that. Turns out that's what was underneath the craving for the potato chips. And I realized in that moment, wow, this has been the source of my cravings all along. Underneath it was loneliness. And my wanter had come up with the strategy of going to get something to snack on to bring some comfort to the discomfort. It was just a strategy of my wanter to try to make things better for me. I realized my whole life, that's where that late night snacking was coming from feeling lonely. And I was so grateful to my wanter in that moment, how often it had tried to bring comfort to that loneliness. Now, of course, I was also aware that never worked. It only would bring a temporary comfort to this feeling, but it wouldn't actually address what was underneath it. So as I stayed with it and stayed with it and stayed with it, all of a sudden I saw a little young version of me, a little 3-year-old me, little guy, little jeans on and little tennis shoes and little t-shirt and a little, what we back in those days called a crew cut, where your hair was cut really short, little blonde haired, little blue-eyed, little Mitchie, 3-year-old. And he was just feeling so alone and so sad and so wanted to feel love. He was just feeling so alone. And right in that moment, I could just feel how much I understood him and how much I love him unconditionally. And I just could feel this big love and compassion just flow right to him and just hug him. It was like loving blessing practice for my little one. All those years of loving blessing practice, it just flowed right into my little guy, my little 3-year-old Mitchie, and just hugged him and honored him and let him know everything's okay. I'm right here with you. You don't have to in any way change how you're feeling. You don't need to stop feeling how you're feeling. You get to feel exactly how you're feeling. And I love you without any requirements, without any conditions. And this love that I bring to you has no limits. We'll never run out. We'll never betray you. We'll never abandon you. We'll never in any way have any agenda towards you at all. Absolute, reliable, dependable, trustworthy, unconditional love. It was amazing. And my little one just turned right toward that inner love and just melted right into that loving embrace. And I realized in that moment, wow, all these years, these cravings were coming from my little one who was feeling lonely. And this love allowed my little one to rest so completely into that love. He just melted into that loving embrace, and I just let him know, my little one, anytime you feel this way, you can turn toward this love that I am, that I bring to you. It will always be here for you. You can always find it here. And this is the love that will always be true and available to you without any limits or requirements. And he just rested right into that. And I realized in that moment, all my life, I had had this feeling and had been looking for love outside from someone else, and realized in that moment that the only love that can truly bring this little one into rest is this inner, absolute, reliable, unconditional love. In every moment, this is a lovely possibility that each of us can let ourselves be available to this practice, loving the little one practice. Anything in our lived life that triggers this insecurity, this loneliness, this unworthiness feeling, we can turn within, become aware of our little one, and let the love that we are be shared. And our little one will, through this practice, eventually realize that it can always turn within for this love. And that love will be reliable and dependable and unconditional.